Aloha, senor.
Hola, señorita.
How are you doing?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. I think this will be our first late night podcast.
Yeah, I know. Burning that midnight oil.
I know. Yeah.
It was just kind of funny because neither of us really sleep generally. I know that I often stay up, really late, and you often stay up really late. I believe. At least you did when we were hanging out at your place.
Yeah, I do typically. I think if I didn't pay any attention to my schedule, I would just completely go nocturnal.
Yeah, dude, it sneaks up on you going nocturnal because you're like, oh, midnight's fine, and then it's like 1's fine, and then 2, then 3, and the next thing you know, well, the sun's rising, so I should probably go to sleep.
Yeah, that actually happened to me last week because I was trying to work and I just started late. I started at like 11 because it was a busy day, and
right.
I looked up and I was like, oh, I'm kind of feeling a little sleepy. What time is it? It's 5:30. I was like, well, I'm fucked.
Right.
It's like, there goes that whole day. Because I don't know about you, but it takes me, if I want to get back on an early schedule again, I basically just have to stay up for 24 hours. And then try to go to sleep like a normal person.
I don't really know, actually, how I do it.
Yeah.
I think it just gets to the point where I'm just like, okay, well, it's time. You're getting 3 hours of sleep today, or whatever. I'm just like, you steal the mind. You're just waking up.
Yeah,
it's not fun. That's for sure.
No, yeah, not super fun. Yeah. So I just finished Sidonia.
Yeah.
So I've got 6 books in front of me too. I brought out the books.
Yeah, I was definitely wondering your thoughts on the books and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's been a while since I reviewed it. It's been a while since I read it, I should say.
The books aren't concluded, correct?
No, the books are still going on.
But they're further than the second season as well?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. They skip stuff, and then
it felt like stuff was skipped.
Yeah, yeah. They skip stuff, and they just move things around.
Okay.
So what was strange is I found myself while I was watching it. Well, actually, since we're going to start talking about it,
yeah, we should probably start the episode pretty soon.
We should probably. That was magical. That was great. So welcome to episode.
What? Fuck, dude! I have no idea.
Let me
7?
Let me check. Oh, yeah. Welcome to episode 8 of Two Dimensional Champions, right. And today we're going to be talking about Knights of Sidonia Season 2. I'm Julian.
I'm Thaddeus.
Yay! Yay! Good on you. Good for you.
Yes, I have a name. And I said it. Great success.
Oh, wow. Huge advertisement for Windows 10 just took over my computer.
Oh, no.
Hang on. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm good. So today we're talking about Season 2 of Knights of Sidonia. The whole thing is on Netflix.
Yeah.
So watch it right now on Netflix. And if you haven't watched the show yet, we're going to be talking about the entire season. So
right.
Go watch it, because otherwise we will completely suck out any enjoyment you will have had if you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, it's like I don't always binge watch anime, but when I do, it's 2 seasons back to back. Yeah, and actually, I also have a throwback too. before we get too much into it, you remember Triage X, our first anime?
Oh,
right?
okay, no.
Pretty easily, actually. I would say spoiler alert, but there was no real plot, so there's nothing to spoil. But anyway, I finished it, actually, and I remember
I'm so sorry.
one of the notes that we had was, it has the potential to maybe get better.
Oh.
And it didn't.
It didn't?
At all. It may have gotten worse. So just like I just wanted to tell you the last episode because of how ridiculous it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first half of the last episode so the second last episode ended on a cliffhanger, right?
Yeah.
So on the last episode, the first half of it were just the girls in a bathtub, right? And I'm like, well, what happened? And then they vaguely refer, like in past tense, to like how they got out of that dire situation while like just having white mist everywhere. You know, they do not conclude anything on any of the characters they were like developing, like any of the antagonists. There's no big fight. Like the last final chase scene was just like this random guy on drugs with a female in the back or something like that. It was insanely bad, but I did it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Some people, really, like on the comments, some people said that they liked it. Don't do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, it is. It really fucks you up, kids.
Yeah.
Don't mess with that.
So.
Wow. Well, you did it. So. Yeah. I mean, congratulations.
I feel dirty still. But
it's not washing off.
Just like crying in the shower, cold with tears of confusion. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Well, and did they go into the bad? Well, I guess you said they didn't do any of the bad guys, but was there any story there, or was it all?
There was like there were two chicks. Like one had like a white spiked necklace, and one had a black spiked necklace, and they were somehow like related to like the chick with the mask. But then she was like, no one should exist like this, because like when I went berserk, I killed everyone involved with the project. Could it be that you guys somehow something? And then they never talked about it again. So it's like insane. I mean, and I think that sums up the entire anime, really.
Yeah. I mean, it was basically just an advertisement for you to buy it on Blu-ray, so you could see the tatas without tasteful myth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it really would have just been better as a porn.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's kind of curious is why didn't they just drop the charade and just make it a porn?
Yeah. But anyway, that was that. For Knights of Sidonia 2, the next anime that we're trying to do is that one from the Fullmetal Alchemist chick. Oh, yeah.
So the next episode will probably be The Heroic Legend of Arslan. Now, I also want to do an episode of Dragon Ball Super, so depending on... Yeah, so it'll be one of those two.
Okay.
But for sure one of those two.
I've vaguely seen good things about the first episode of Dragon Ball Super on the internet, but I don't know much more about that. But apparently the internet is happy, which never happens.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say anything about it here. I have seen it, and it's... I won't...
continued.
To be continued, but I've seen it, and I think we'll wait until one more episode is out, I'd say, and then we'll do that.
Which I think airs this Saturday, correct?
Yeah, it should be airing on Saturday.
Anything else to mention before we dig into Knights of Sidonia 2?
We just want to thank everybody who's been listening so far to the show. We really appreciate you guys tuning in, and just to drop us a line at twodimensionalchampions@gmail.com if with your comments, questions, and concerns. If you don't feel like the show is going in a good direction and you'd like to see a change in your...
More Triage X.
It's like, I'm sorry, we're here to stay. We can't do anything about that. But if you have a show to recommend, we can do something about that. So,
I think you can also message through Spotify.
Oh, really?
No, wait, yeah. Wait, no, SoundCloud. No, not Spotify.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can send messages through SoundCloud.
Oh, yeah, and you can follow us and like us and all that fun stuff, and please do that. It really does.
It makes us feel special, really.
It makes us feel very special.
That's all. I think that's the main thing.
That's really it.
Like us. They really like us.
There are people out there who enjoy this. That's great. That's very good. Yeah, and subscribe to us on iTunes, too. I know I have, like I said last week.
Yeah, me too. The two lone... Well, maybe not. I don't even actually know how to check that. But anyway.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah. So I think that's all for the announcements.
Yeah, let's talk about Knights of Sidonia 2. Knights
of Sidonia 2. I think it's The Battle for Planet 9 is the subtitle for this batch of 12 episodes. So the question I have before we start is, do you want to go episode by episode, or did you just want to do a free-for-all kind of see where the spirit moves us?
It's kind of a blur, because I watched it all so fast. But maybe we should not necessarily break down each episode in super depth, but I feel like we should have some sort of linear progression through it.
Because I can do either or. I watched it in 2 batch sections of 6 episodes each. 6 yesterday and then 6 today.
Oh, did you end up finishing Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon?
No, I haven't done that yet. We've been too busy packing stuff up.
Oh, yeah, real life stuff, you noob.
That, and also I got the Green Fire quest for my Warlock on World of Warcraft.
Oh, serious business.
Yeah, serious. Yeah. Serious business. So Knights of Sidonia Season 2. This is really, I gotta say, it feels like a 24-episode show that was just spread out over 2 years, and I think that's exactly how they planned it. But yeah, so tell me, after your blitzkrieg of watching it, what'd you think?
When I finished watching it, I really liked it a lot. But the more I've thought about it since then, there are sort of some things that kind of bothered me about it. Everyone fucking developed plot armor. One of my favorite things about Knights of Sidonia 1 was that I had that feeling that characters could die.
Yeah.
And that feeling went away in the second season. It just stops,
Yeah.
So, I think that the connection between the characters was good. It was still a little, it sort of became, I would almost say, more harem-y than Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon, which is kind of weird. The sort of, I feel like it's almost frustrating how apathetic Tanagi or Nagata.
Tanakaze, yeah.
Nagata is with these sort of love interests. It's whenever it's hey, there's just confusion.
Yeah, the only one he really seems to have any emotion towards, or reaction towards anyway, is Hoshijiro. Right. And that really didn't get brought up again until the very end. Last 2 or 3 episodes, I'd say.
Right, the girl that turned into, or half gone, half, right?
Yeah, so she was eaten last season.
Right.
She was probably... not probably. She was definitely the most shocking death last season.
Right.
That was really well done. The way that they just blacked out the fight and he just wakes up and sees it on the news.
And sort of
that was that was harsh, man. That was
really good storytelling. Did the first season seem more horror-esque than the second season to you?
Yeah, and part of that is because they skipped a lot of stuff from the manga. They really focused on
the relationships between the characters.
Yeah, and I think, and again, that's why I said I think they really, really looked at this as a 24-episode run as opposed to just 2 separate 12, because I think they figured that the first half had a lot of monster stuff, and so they really wanted to focus, because all of those moments with the characters it's in the manga,
right?
But the problem is there's many more fights. and the fights are spread out and orchestrated just in a slightly different way that the plot armor seems less in the manga.
Right.
When it really isn't. It's just the way it's paced. Whereas in the anime, because they squish a lot of stuff together, it's really blaring.
Right.
And also they combine some fights. A great example of it is Izana. So when she loses her arm and leg, that was supposed to happen at the end of the last season. When they fought the big asteroid thing. That was the fight she was supposed to get injured in.
Right.
And I actually have got to flip through the manga to see about the whole beam blocking thing that Tsurugi did.
That was really cool. I really like the way that was done.
That was badass. And I think I really like Tsurugi. Tsurugi's...
Oh, yeah. Dude, I've never had so much empathy for an inflated balloon before.
Yeah.
But, the empathy is strong.
Well, not just that, but it's the first time I've ever seen a giant creature and was like, she's kind of cute.
Right. Well, okay. I think we're let's because that character wasn't even introduced until some other really important things happened, which I feel like we should talk about first.
We should probably touch on that. The big switchover is when Kunato gets his brain taken over by Ochiai.
What were your thoughts? So how did you feel about that?
Well, I feel like Kunato was kind of a wimp season 1. He just broke down after, I guess, Hoshijiro. Watching that season over again before we reviewed it, I think he really liked Hoshijiro. And when she died, I just feel like that was his gal. Right. And, she was I don't know if they say this, but she felt like the hottest girl at school character,
Right.
And Kunato was the ace pilot, so that was, I don't know if he really liked her as a person, but I think he definitely, I imagine him seeing her like that. So when she died, he kind of just dropped off the map. Yeah. And it is true that Kunato, the family was huge. They're meant to be watching over Ochiai's research and stuff like that. And I think it's a cool idea that they split up Ochiai's, documents. It looks like the captain has most of them and access to the auxiliary brain and stuff like that. And then Kunato's family is supposed to look after stuff. I thought that was a cool, it's not just one group, that...
Right, it's sort of like a checks and balances for weapons of mass destruction, really.
Yeah, and what's cool about that is you can see the checks and balances, and then this season was really showing how that all just broke down completely.
Yeah.
So I thought it was actually really... I liked the little fairy android thing that killed his sister.
And then a thing got into it, right? Then took over his sister, right? Or did she actually die?
Yeah, I think she died. Well, she got her head cut off, right?
I was really confused. Well, some of these characters really look alike.
And I don't think the CG character designs, do anything nice for that.
I remember there was one time when I was convinced that I thought it was the green haired chick was hooking up what's his face Tanakaze to go on a date, but really it was the girl's mom or something. It was so weird, and I was so confused. And it took me later in that episode to be oh right, that was the grandmother. Okay. No. But anyway, so yeah, I guess maybe the sister died, but then there's a different assistant. That was his sister always sort of seemed like an assistant. Yeah,
I think the brain, Ochiai's brain nematode, or what was it, whatever it's called,
right.
Little squid thing. I think it definitely went into her eye, and Kunato just reattached her head, because it's really creepy. She gets her head cut off, and then when she comes back, she's got short hair. She's cutting off her hair.
Right. So then it's is this a whole new character, or is this his fucking sister? That was confusing to me.
I think they're all Ochiai. They're just in different bodies.
Ochiai meaning the mad scientist, right?
Yeah. I think it's all him. He's just split himself up.
Well, No, because there was that one scene where he didn't want to take over like the scientist's mind because he's a brilliant scientist. So I think that the parasite that he gives some people makes them just like an obedient sort of like drone-ish person that just sort of follows his commands, but isn't a cognitive thinker.
Oh, that could be.
And but he's actually in Kanato.
Yeah,
that was my impression, at least.
Yeah, actually, I like that a little better than what I was thinking, which was that it's just him and all the brains, and he didn't want to take over Izana's grandmother's brain because she's actually super smart, and if he did that, he would lose like all of her knowledge. But it's not really described how the nematode things work, if they're called nematodes. I'm just calling them that.
Okay, I was like, wow, you actually know the name of those things. Can't remember Cage's name.
But I thought that was a creepy fucking scene. That was really creepy, and it was really creepy in the books. And I'm actually surprised that they left the scene as it was in the anime.
The brother and sister going down, and the little android fucking around.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was. I mean, that was just scary. There's something about that. That was. I mean, Tsutomu Nihei, the author, he does horror really well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was a really creepy scene. But like, yeah. I thought it was weird because that there's that android or whatever that was there, that little tiny dude, and then nothing ever that's never addressed again.
Brought up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that scene and the scene where he drops the nematode in the other scientist's eye, the one with the glasses and the brown hair.
Right.
I think both of those scenes were supposed to happen last season, and they just
didn't have time for it, I guess.
Yeah, and rather they ended with Nagate trying to be nice to Kanato when Kanato was all sad and didn't open the door and all that.
Yeah, and another thing I don't think they explained it, is like blood needed to be drawn before that parasite apparently could go into that person's body, but it went into the eye.
Yeah, I don't remember that. So.
Yeah, I don't know. So there were a few scenes. It was neat, but there were a few scenes that sort of like, I don't really know what's going on. I'm not trying to be overly critical of it, but it's just like, didn't really understand. I mean, all in all, I really did. So I guess just to reiterate, I really did like this anime when I was watching it. But when I've thought about things in the past, there's a lot of like, wait, what? What the fuck? That keeps happening. So you're sort of, expressing the what the fuck mindset.
Yeah, and I really agree with you, because, I mean, you just, there's not much that gets explained. And I feel like the manga shows you more. So it's not necessarily that it tells you more, but you just see more of the creepy shit.
You can sort of piece together more things.
Yeah, so it gives you a chance to piece together stuff. And like I was talking in the last episode we talked about Sidonia, there was that whole flashback scene of them finding the kabi, like the blades that they use to pierce the placenta, in this weird alien ship, and they skipped that whole thing.
Right.
I mean, they skipped that whole story. So, and it wasn't, they did the second half of it, which was showing Tanikaze's, like, grandfather, fighting his way out to save him when he was a baby. I mean, they showed part of it. But, I mean, that's what I mean, is like the anime just shows you more. So I feel like even if you don't, I mean, the manga just shows you more. So I feel like even if you can't really verbalize like what Kunat or like what Ochiai's whole plan is or anything like that, by seeing more of it, you feel like it's more satisfying. I mean, that's how I felt. I mean, reading the manga, I feel like is much more satisfying in terms of those little plot quirks.
Explanations, really.
Yeah, and just showing flashbacks and stuff like that. I mean, it's just something that I just feel like maybe just one or two more episodes in each of these 12 episode blocks would have been nice to just flesh stuff out a little more. Because it's funny when they do everything else, the stuff that they choose to pull from the manga, they really. I mean,
they really do well.
It's not that the whole show fucks everything up.
Right.
I mean, they really try to. I mean, you can tell it's written by somebody who's really, really working hard to really respect the original material as much as they can.
I think it's just the amount of data that they're covering. Maybe like the rate of it is just might be a little bit too fast.
And budget.
Yeah, probably.
Because I bet those fights are really expensive.
This fight's really freaking badass.
Because the fights were great. I mean, the fights that they included were really, really good. And I did like this season. I did enjoy that they focus so much on the characters, because I really like Izana. I actually really like everybody.
Right.
There's not really anybody who I'm really annoyed by. I mean, I even like the engineering team of the lady and the old guy. I really like them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're just, everybody's pretty...
The character development, yeah, I think it was really spot on. And, like, I really liked, again, just sort of jump forward, how Izana and the pink blow-up doll. What was that? Tsumugi. Like there was like a little, like they were sort of a love triangle thing, but they were also friends. And I felt like that was portrayed pretty. And it wasn't like, oh, like I'm, after you now or whatever. We're not friends because we like the same boy. It's like, well, we both like the same boy, and so there's still some jealousy, but they're also, really good friends.
Yeah, and that's actually something I really like about the series, is with the exception of, like, let's say, Ochiai and stuff like that, for such a harsh world and story that they're in, I really like that the characters generally are really sweet to each other. Yeah. They're just really, really nice. And I think that's really refreshing because, it is, I do enjoy I'll call it the Game of Thrones idea, which is you have this super, super cruel world where all this batshit crazy stuff is happening and everybody's fucking each other over.
Right.
Everybody is just stabbing each other in the back, fucking each other up, killing each other. And that, that's not necessarily bad, but I think that's part of the reason I love Sidonia so much is how sweet everybody is to each other.
Right.
It almost feels, I don't know if it was written like this by Nihei, but it almost feels like they've been through so much bullshit and like they could all die very quickly.
Yeah.
I feel like, a lot of them are just kind of over it. I mean, there is some exceptions to that. Like there's, but you only kind of hear about it in the background. And I almost wish we could see a little bit more of it. Like there was that pilot, and this is kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but before they were going to send out the surveillance mission for Planet 9.
Right.
Remember there was that girl who yelled at Tanikaze and was like, oh, of course you're not going to send him out on a
suicide mission.
Yeah, it's like, of course.
Right.
You're just going to send us pilots that, we only get 3 seconds of screen time. And then they send out Izana. Izana gets a call because it's mentioned that girl got arrested for dereliction of duty.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I thought, and so you see this really interesting stuff that happens in the background, and you see that there are people that, I don't know. And so I think the main cast is very sweet, and it is really refreshing to have a cast that are just friends to each other,
Right.
As opposed to just bitchiness.
Right, for sure.
But at the same time, it is clear that I think the author might be trying to balance the really fucked up shit that happens with really, really sweet stuff.
With sort of interpersonal things.
Yeah. And
it would be cool if we killed some more characters, I'm just saying.
It really would be.
I think Izana should have just got deleted.
Yeah. I mean, I spent most of the fights really, really scared.
Because for Izana, like thinking that.
Well, for everybody, because there was a few times where, like, actually the fight that's in, what is it, episode, where she loses her arm and leg, the beam fight, which I think was the standout battle of the season. I like that because there was a point where, I say to myself, this is too easy. This is way too fucking easy. And this is... And then the beam, the Ghana activates the beam and the whole ship almost gets destroyed. And that, I thought that was a really great fight. You really felt the kind of the weight, especially when Izana went down and Tsumugi lost it. And I think it is really interesting how much Tsumugi's personality is hinged on Izana surviving. I mean, she really, really likes Izana.
Right.
And, I mean, like you were saying, Nagate is the boy she likes, but I really, really enjoy the friendship between the two of them.
Right.
And, and even, Ochiai / Kunato, they really recognize it. They were like, oh, yeah, this chick needs to live.
Right, yeah.
Otherwise, we have problems.
So, here's something I thought was interesting, just going back to Ochiai, is it seemed like he was the antagonist for a while, right?
Yeah.
Takes over previous season, one, main sort of character, just is sort of taking over these other people, conducting mad scientist experiments and stuff. But then again, not really. Yeah. It's like, I think what it was portraying for is that everyone just wanted survival, but they just go about it in different ways.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I don't think Ochiai, it's not like he wants to kill everybody. In the very last episode, he announces that he's trying to be reborn as a god. So, obviously, his end goals are probably not great for everybody. But he's more interested in his own personal gain, and it really does seem like he sees everybody as chess pieces. Because, going back to Izana's grandma, he had the chance to totally fuck her over and, put the brain thing in. He was like, nah, she's more useful as her.
Right.
And so I don't think he's good. I definitely don't think he's a good guy. But at the same time, he just sees people very strategically. I mean, he's a sociopath, basically.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have those feelings. Doesn't really give a shit when 99% of the population dies because of one of his experiments. Just not, he's like, another failure.
It's crazy shit. He tried an experiment and went down. He's like, fucked it up. Well, you gotta, break a few eggs in order to make an omelet. You gotta.
Yeah, and from that massive mistake, they got the photosynthesis modification and also the development of the third gender.
You're talking about the old massive mistake, yeah, and the new one,
Oh yeah, and the new mistake too. I mean, that's a great example. What was that, episode 7 or something? Where they're trying to make the beam cannon.
Yeah, and it was definitely one of those damn it, not like, oh, all these people are dead now. It was just like,
yeah.
I didn't tighten up that one screw.
Yeah. And in that, I think, and this is where it gets a little confusing because I haven't read the manga in a little while, and they're squishing stuff together. But in the scene where that happens in the book, and it's under different circumstances, if I remember correctly, Kunato, I think, gets fucked up, really fucked up in that, and he's out of commission for a while. And that, I think they skipped. I think they just totally skipped that.
Who did?
Ochiai and Kunato's body.
I thought to say Kunano. I was like, oh fuck, another character that I don't know. But
yeah, because he begins testing another hybrid in the manga, and they show that in the last couple episodes that he's making another hybrid.
Right.
But in the manga, that's the big where the moon gets blown up and stuff. I'm pretty sure that's that experiment. They never do a beam weapon. Mm. Or something else. I mean, again, my memory could be off, so or probably is. But Kunato gets really fucked up, and that's actually part of the reason why he's out of the picture for a little while, and that's why. Yeah. And they don't do that. And I got all messed up because they on the other hand did the thing with Izana's grandma where she got injured and they play dress up and stuff like that, and that's supposed to happen after the testing of the other hybrid. So I got all confused. I was like, I like these scenes, but I
don't really understand this order. Yeah.
Yeah. And
there were some people, actually, that's just on the plot armor topic, who didn't have plot armor. Do you know who it was? Yeah, that's how important they were. But apparently, the freaking council, the elders or whatever.
Shit. Yeah, right? The elders all died.
Yeah, okay. So, and the way that it happened, so the elders are like, this chick's out of line, all right? We gotta take her out and then take over again or whatever. And then the inn opens this door where it's the Uchiha's like body, but not him, right? Like, isn't that?
Mm-hmm.
And he's got this glove on it, right? And in this glove is these little balls. They're floating around, all cool looking and stuff.
Oh yeah, the weird beam balls. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it was is it was like a gravity thing. I think he just shot the balls like bullets, and just took out everybody.
Oh yeah, he fucked up everybody, and that goes back to the theme of this season. Really shows the breakdown of the checks and balances on Sidonia.
Yeah. So like that was. I think the main captain was like, I'm doing this stuff that's going to piss these people off. We got to take him out.
Yeah.
And they took him out. And no one fucking cared because they were a myth anyway.
Yeah.
like they were an invisible power like group. And when they died, no one knew. So nothing.
Yeah.
There's like a few cases which was like, this is really weird. This like elite group that no one knows about, that I know about, wouldn't approve of this. Oh, that must mean that they're all dead. I think that happened once, and it was just
and the only one who really noticed it was Lala the bear.
Yeah,
she was there's no way these guys would let that happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, and actually flipping through real quick, that scene where the elders get killed by the auxiliary brain Ochi, that happens after the big beam battle where Tsumugi loses like 90% of her biomass. And now that I'm flipping through that, the biomass fight where Tsumugi blocks the beam, they skipped a lot of creepy shit that happens in that fight. Like, a lot of creepy shit.
Oh, did a lot of it happen when she was inside that trap?
There's a bit when she's inside the trap, and actually they did that all right, but after, like, towards the end of the fight, before the last beam is fired, the ship turns into, like, a giant human phase, and it's really fucked up. Anyway, they just skipped all of that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing with Izana getting injured. Like I said, that was supposed to happen in the last battle of the first season. So, I mean, it's still a great fight, and they still kept a lot of the key stuff in, like Tsumugi breaking out of the trap and, getting super pissed. But
dude, I thought that was a really, like, one thing that I think they did really well was make, was it Izuna? Wait, what's her name again?
Izana?
The chick robot, right? Izana? The one who got put in that trap.
Oh, Tsumugi. Yeah.
But like, Tsumugi really seems like a child.
Yeah.
And the development that's going on is like, it's like got all these powers or whatever. It's like, oh, don't worry guys, I'll just go check it out or whatever. Yeah, these guys are bad, I'm gonna go. And then just goes like right into that trap. And then like in that trap, it was like yeah, she got out, but she was like fucking traumatized. Like, I don't know what happened, but like I like felt like she was like raped essentially.
Yeah, that was my reaction too. When she came out, I was like, wow, something really bad happened.
Right, she's like, I'm not letting any of these things touch anyone, and just went on a berserk.
Yeah.
And because she wasn't able to keep her cool, they put him in a precarious situation. Like, it was very...
Yeah. Really well done.
Yeah.
And it also brings up the interesting point that the Ghana just don't just eat people. And that's something that the anime in the first season, I don't think got across as well as the manga does. Which is, in the anime, it just looks like they eat people. It's like, okay, they're gone.
Right.
But in the manga, you really get the sense that something really messed up happened. Like, it's not just...
It seems like a weird sort of like assimilation thing going on.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, when Tsumugi wanted to touch Izana and Nagate just to see what they felt like and to, like, get their measurements and stuff.
Right.
And it was a really cute scene. I think that's what the Ghana just take people apart and kind of just... I mean, basically, I don't think it's like tentacle porn exactly, but because I think it's a lot grosser than that. I think they really take people apart and are trying to learn.
Right, and and I think that it can somehow access like their thoughts and memories.
Yeah,
and
yeah. And I think they tried to do that with Tsumugi, and you just, like... And I thought that was a really... Yeah, I agree with you. That was a really great scene. Yeah. Because she was like, fuck no.
Right.
I'm not letting that happen to anybody.
Right.
And you just look at her and you're like...
No.
Yeah, and just the way her whole demeanor changes. Because what's cool about Tsumugi is so much of her character is put across in her body language.
Right.
And you just get this vibe that's like, oh shit, something really bad happened in there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool that they didn't show it. You make it up in your head.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. Well, the way, because it's like she just acts like a really happy child or whatever, and then like the way that changed to like that was terrible. You pretty much just think about like what's the worst thing that could happen that would completely like destroy this innocence or traumatize this sort of child.
Yeah.
Character.
Yeah. An invasion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and her anger really comes out at the end when she fights the Crimson Hawkmaw. You can really see that same ferocity come up again.
Dude, that scene was intense.
That was a great fight.
Yeah.
That was a great fight.
Yeah, that was a great fight. And, like, oh my god, I still get the
oh, that was creepy as fuck, too, yeah.
Just makes me gag a little bit. So, yeah. Oh my god. But anyway, so,
yeah, so they kill the, So we're done with episode 2. They killed the overlords of Sidonia. So now Kobayashi, the captain, is in complete control. Lala's not too happy about that. The grandma's helping her. And what's interesting is nobody really asked, when they had actually back in episode 2, when they had the introduction of Tsumugi to the rest of Sidonia, it was funny that nobody was like, so where did you get the human half from? We understand that you used half a Ghana placenta.
Right.
And finally, in episode 3, he's on his grandma. Is like, yeah, where'd you do that? And you just get that really quick shot of basically they impregnated the Hoshijiro placenta, and she gave birth. And there's that creepy little scene where you see something coming out of her body, basically. That's like this big weird placenta. And anyway, that was messed up. And again, something that I think you see a little more of that in the manga. And they just kind of just go through it real quick in the anime.
Right.
And it's just creepier,
Yeah, well, actually, I sort of felt like she was so similar to Hoshijiro.
Yeah, Hoshijiro. Yeah.
So bad. I apologize to everyone. It's not that I'm not paying attention. It's just one of those things. But anyway, it's like... I just sort of felt like it was the same person. It seemed like it was like really similar personality. Yeah,
and Izana recognized it right away. She sounds like Hoshijiro.
Yeah, she really sounds like Hoshijiro.
Yeah, really, really creepy. And actually, episode 3 has my favorite comedic moment of the series, which is when Nagate goes to bring rice balls to the Hanoka clone that just woke up, I guess, from the fight last season, which I actually don't remember what fight. She blacked out.
It was with the separation of the bombs when that went wrong. That's the scene that she blacked out, and it was a huge throwback to me. Okay. And they all looked the same, so I figured she was fine. And so,
I love. Yeah, thank you, because I totally forgot about that. I was like, what the fuck? But I love the scene where he walks in on them changing because she wanted to photosynthesize, and she kicks the door flat out and smashes him against it.
I actually didn't like that scene.
Really?
Yeah, and it wasn't. I mean, like, so yeah, that's like cool and all, but this seems to be like an anime that seems to really be anchored in reality, Mm-hmm. And kicking the door off, the metal door, like I understood, like pretty much the only thing that's sort of seemingly supernatural that happened in the first season, in my opinion, was like. How quickly the main character would recover from his injuries.
Oh yeah.
But then like with this, what was they watch? The N family or something like that, right?
Yeah, the Honokas.
The Honokas. Like at least that one, like that's crazy. Kicking a door, like I wasn't sure if I was supposed to really believe in a reality or really believe in a fantasy. Like, there was another scene later when it's like she was going to go down to apologize, and then, like, instead of, like, she decided not to. She changed her mind. Yeah. And instead of running off or whatever, she, like, jumped on a bar, swung out off of, like, a giant metal tube, and then, like, you know, did crazy acrobatics, and then just, like, ran away. And then my thing is, like, where's that coming from? Like, is that just a thing that, like, the family can do because, like, they're clones, they're genetically modified, so they're stronger? Like, why doesn't everyone just sort of, like, run around like that? Can everyone do that? It's like, I'm just sort of confused.
Yeah, because Izana can't do anything like that.
Right.
From what we've seen, yeah.
Right, so it's like, what the fuck's going on? Why did you just kick out of a metal door? Like, and then how come when you punched him before, his face didn't fly off? When she saw him in the bath scene in season 1, you know, like she punched him and...
That's true, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was a similar sort of thing.
That's a good point. Yeah, I feel like... Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, it's sort of like, haha, yeah, it's like funny, but it's also sort of like you could have still had the same comedic value, and then not made me question as to what the rules of the world are.
Yeah, especially when, like you said, the space battles try to be really realistic in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the other issue I have with it, and I thought it was a really funny scene, but the other issue I had with those scenes in general is I feel like because Nagate is so dense when it comes to interpersonal relationships, I feel like they just use him getting beaten up by all the girls as an excuse not to have him actually confront any of the emotions that he may be experiencing with any of the girls. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he's always getting beaten up by Izana. He's always getting beaten up by the Honokas. And I laugh every time. I enjoy it. But then afterwards I'm like, yeah, but he never actually has to deal with these people. It's like he never has to confront them. And, you know, because Izana, it always makes sense when she gets a little frustrated with him. But I feel like if she hadn't punched him, maybe she would have... I mean, he's just so dense. I feel like that comedy is there really just to kind of...
play off of that.
Yeah, to play off of that and to really not... I really wish he would go there a little more. On the other hand, he's such a... Actually, very similar to Belle from... Is it okay to... shit. Fucking name.
Right.
Familia Myth. They're very pure, very, very innocent characters who only really get excited by one girl.
Well, actually, I feel like that sort of changed a little bit because I felt like that there were definitely a few times where it seemed like him and Izana like were developing like a thing or something.
That's true. Yeah, once Izana grew boobs, it looked like he was really
right, and like he sort of seemed like he was leaning towards her or whatever. It was weird, but just another thing to just harp on the rules. Like there was one scene, so she ends up getting like a robot arm and leg, and he's like drinking something like from a wooden off of a wooden table, and she's like, I'm not gonna go play cards with you, which apparently means fucking. I don't understand. But this was after they were talking in the bathroom, and she slammed her freaking robot arm down, and it like splintered the wood, or whatever. It was crazy. But then I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's crazy and that makes sense. Homegirl just broke a metal door with her bare hands. So is that impressive or is that not impressive? I don't know. Yeah,
and there's a couple of other scenes in the manga with stuff like that. There's actually one with the Katatsu that they bring in one of the later episodes that Midori Kawa brings in.
Okay, Katatsu.
The like table thing where they were all sitting under with the... Remember Tsumugi was like crawling around underneath it? And they moved, and that was really cute.
Yeah.
But there's something that happens with that. I think it's later, and they just didn't do it in the anime or just didn't get to that scene. There's something that happens with that, I think with the Honoka sisters, that's really ridiculous. Really, really ridiculous. And you're gonna, if they ever animate that, you're gonna see it, we're gonna be back talking about it, and you're gonna be like, what the fuck?
Well, just tell me, because if it was also with the sisters, then it might just be the sisters are fucking monsters.
Yeah, and let me see if I can flip through. They, like, kick it or something, and they kick it so hard, they kick it outside of their house, and it crashes into Lala's front yard, like, across Sidonia, or something like that. It's really funny.
Dude, fuck it, man. Those guys don't need machines. They just give them a mask so they can breathe, and they'll just punch the fucking...
Yeah, fucking just get the Honoka system.
Yeah, but don't let them get analyzed, because if they're freaking... Thanos get a hold of that shit, it's game over.
Game over.
Suddenly, it's like instead of shooting lasers, it's just like launching coffee tables from across the galaxy.
That must be later, because I can't find it. Flipping through here real quick, but yeah, it's really funny. I mean, as soon as I saw the Kotatsu, I remembered that, and I was like, I really hope that scene happens. But it didn't. But yeah, I mean, just poor Konato. I'm not Konato, fuck. All these names. Nagate, he just gets his ass beat all the time.
Right.
All the time.
Right.
And it's just, I feel a little bad. I mean, the scene that is funny is when Izana and Konato were trying to find a passageway through the pipes to allow Tsumugi to see the city.
Right.
And then they switched on the reverse thrusters, and they hung upside down. It was pretty funny when Izana caught him with her legs.
Oh, right.
And he was hanging upside down, and she had him in this, like, leg lock.
Yeah, I think it was like a triangle or something like that. Like,
yeah, that was pretty funny. But again, like, I don't know. I mean, it's just, again, I think it really suffers from them skipping shit from the manga.
Probably.
Because just from what we've talked about, we've already cleared, three more episodes. We're in episode 6 now.
Yeah.
Really, because we talked about the big bean battle, which was really cool. More props to that bean fight. That was pretty fucking awesome, especially with the scene with Tsumugi.
Really, really cool.
Yeah. And then I actually wish we had seen more of the librarian chick. The chick who was so excited about pipes.
Yeah.
She was cool.
Yeah. She's very cool.
She's like Sidonia's realtor? Something
like that, yeah. Like, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
And and we mentioned how, like, I guess he was able to get his own house. It was really sweet that he got, like, a house that was connected to the pipes that overlooked the city, that was still close to that railing, just so they could all hang out together,
Yeah, and dude, their house. How fucking cute is their house?
Dude, how fucking cute was the dust clearing of the house?
That was great.
Just like, hang on a second, it's just like...
She just blasts all the dust out. Yeah, I mean, that was really... I just love... I mean, I know it's very harem-y, and the show definitely was, like, reaching dangerous levels of harem this season. But this is where I might lose my subjectivity, which is there are other shows that I'm sure I'd be so down on for, like, oh, this is really just like kind of a fucking harem show, it's kind of sick of this shit. So I love all of the Sidonia girls so much that I don't care.
Yeah.
I would watch 100 episodes of just hijinks and love every minute of it.
I mean,
buy every piece of shit that would come out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they're all such likable characters, and there's no like crazy tropes or like they just all like each other, and
they're all so cute.
And that little like rubber chick or whatever, Okay, whenever she would like make a noise, would you just think of like a blown up like sort of air mattress or like balloon just sort of like turning? Like, I think that's the noise that they use for, like...
I think that's exactly it. And I never thought about her like that in the manga, but in the anime, it was hilarious. And I loved how she would put her little, like, hands together when she was, like, nervous.
Yeah,
like,
a little bit.
She'd just be like, tap, 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 tap.
Yeah.
It was really cute. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, they sold last year a Hoshijiro body pillow, and I didn't buy it, because I was like, no, that's too far, man. I'm not, that's just too far. I just looked at it, and I was like, nah, someone's gonna see it. I'll have to explain it. And I fucking swear to God, now I'm so pissed at myself that I didn't buy it. So pissed. I was like, come on, really? I didn't get it? Fuck you, past Julian. Really, like, what the hell? Who cares? Anyway, that's my side. That's how...
I'm looking at the body pillow right now.
Yeah.
You fucking nerd. You were going to buy this?
I was going to buy it, man. It was great.
Oh, so, I just want to... Assuming this is the same one, it looks like there's one side and it has Hoshijiro in her pilot outfit, and then the other side it has her in her underwear.
I'm not ashamed.
Oh, with the slightest of blushes.
Slightest.
Yeah. Oh, so modest. Right now it's a body pillow that you're humping. God.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm really sad I didn't get it, but fucking swear to God, if they do fucking one for Izana, or even Samugi, if they came out with Samugi, I would buy it. I would do it. That little balloon fucker. That's what this show does to me. That's where this show takes me. Body pillows.
body pillow. I would be more likely to. I don't know what this really sort of says about me, but I would be more likely to buy the Samugi body pillow than like any of the other ones.
I completely understand.
Just because it's like a chemical and it could like double as like a giant pink penis or whatever,
Yeah, and she does actually sleep with Nagate, so technically it is canon. I mean, it wouldn't be totally weird to have a body pillow of that character, because there was actually...
Yeah, I mean, she was IRL body pillow, right?
And I thought it was hilarious how she took up the entire bed and was sleeping on Nagate, and he just looked so uncomfortable. He was like, oh god, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is... And so that's why it is a little unfair of me to, like, really be critical with other shows that get dangerously harem-y, because this show, I just lose my shit so bad over all the chicks that...
I mean, but that's mainly just because of the character development.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, they're just great. Yeah, and even, I really liked how Midorikawa got some a little bit of advancement, not advancement, but just a little bit of added development with the toy shop, or the model shop.
Oh, right. Just when she would have those moments where she geeked out with the old guy about like, isn't that the ultimate weapon? Like,
yeah.
And then I'm like, is this a plot point? It's like, no, it's just like it's just a story, and it's like
it's just that.
So there was like an anime or a show or whatever, and they made up this ultimate weapon, and apparently it was a really rare model.
Yeah, and I just really like that because Midorikawa, I don't know, I thought that was really cool. It just really brought out her character more. And, she's been through kind of a rough time. She'd lost her older brother in the first season.
Yeah.
She really quickly got, basically she flew through the ranks. And now she's basically the second in command.
Yeah.
So she's a really interesting character. And, I just like her. And another quick note with episode 6 is, the little stag beetle that Samugi finds?
Yes.
Yeah, so when they're, the author, whenever he draws, little author notes or something where he's in it, he draws himself as a beetle.
Oh, really? So it's like a shout out to the manga.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was pretty cute. And that's actually not the only shout out. Author fan service. There's another bigger scene. But yeah, so now we get into the test where the big beam weapon that's set up, as you said, by the model shop. They talk about the weird gravity beam.
Do you think that was the same weapon?
I think they were trying to make that.
Yeah, I mean, since they were trying to make the ultimate beam weapon, so I guess that does make sense.
Yeah, and because Izana's grandma says that it would have been impossible without the placenta forming the parts they just couldn't build.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it was that. I mean, I figure that's why they had the model shop thing in there, was because it was... I mean, I guess they wouldn't have had to. We would have known it was cool either way, you know?
Oh, yeah, they definitely, like, I mean, yeah, like how it...
But, yeah, so that was cool. And I actually thought Izana's grandma was going to die. When that scene happened in the manga, too, I thought she was going to die.
Yeah, well, you know plot armor now, so...
Yeah, she's too smart. Although I did like how...
She gets fucked up, though.
Yeah, she got fucked up. And I liked how this leads her to team up with the mechanic. And I thought that was a cool idea. And that they were actually friends when they were younger. And that actually...
Yeah, that was the person that they went out and... Do you remember when we dressed like this or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because the mechanic beforehand, I didn't think there was anything really special about her. And then now it's like, oh, she's also one of these immortal people who's been running the show basically for a long time. Which is also explains why a lot of them put up.
Wait, is
with,
she actually immortal?
I don't know if she's immortal per se, but she's kind of like Izana's grandma, where she just looks young, but she's been around for a really long time.
Right.
So I guess there's a limit to how far they can stretch that, but.
I mean, I think the only person that's actually they really established as being immortal is the captain.
Yeah, and that council.
Well, RIP. Not anymore.
Yeah. That look how well that worked.
No one knew about him, and now no one ever will.
They were like, one of them before they died was totally like, oh shit, I knew we should have done that PR campaign 300 years ago.
Right. Yeah, like, it was crazy too. Like when they got off, you know, and they had all those masks, you were thinking they were gonna look like old dudes, and it was like, here's one guy who's like extremely good looking, right before he gets a bullet in the head.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, look at that wrinkly old man, and they're all dead.
Yeah, I bet they were all kind of hot.
Yeah. There are a few chicks in there. Be like, hey, though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind like a Misty Beth seeing Triage X style. Maybe with one of those immortals.
Yeah. Well, I really wouldn't. I mean, again, it shows me where this show takes me, but I wouldn't mind like a Triage X fan service show.
You should feel ashamed of yourself.
I mean, I guess I kind of do, but I would also play. They should do a dating sim game for this.
Shut the fuck up, man.
Dude, I would play the fuck out of it.
I know you would.
God.
And I don't like that. Like, now it's like, I'm starting to question our friendship now. I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, it'd be great. You know, you get it on the DS or whatever, and it's like, Izana has to meet you at the blah, blah, blah place,
right,
3 o'clock. And I'd be like, fuck yeah.
Exactly.
I think your robot arm's awesome.
Yeah,
it's like, really, really cool.
Would you like me to oil your robot arm? Make sure it doesn't squeak when you make any sudden movements?
Yeah, when she's playing the skin flute, you know. She could do some damage with that one.
Oh, yeah. So, they tried out this weapon. Surprise, surprise. Fucking, you mess with the bull, you get the horns, and it all, like, blows up.
Yep.
I wasn't, like, I mean, it was an interesting scene, but I wasn't particularly, like, I don't know. I don't really have any feelings on anywhere. They fucked up that planet, and then it all went away. You know, like...
Yeah, what was funny is the scene felt very Evangelion.
It did.
Yeah, you know, the test goes horribly wrong.
Right.
Oh no, so many people got fucked up. Yeah, it felt very, what was that, Unit 3 with Toji and all that.
Right.
And funny enough, the way they animated the beam weapon when it was coming alive, it actually looked like the monster that they fought, or the space monster that they fought in Die Buster. Did you ever watch Die Buster?
Did not.
Oh, okay, so it looks exactly like that. It had the 4 weird like the weird circular mouth with the 4 like sides to it. It actually looks suspiciously a lot like a sandworm from Dune.
I think it did sort of feel like it looked kind of wormy-ish.
Yeah, and I mean, I could be totally wrong, but from what I was flipping through with the manga, trying to refresh my memory, I don't think that's in it at all. So that was all filler. I mean, the scenario wasn't, but the beam penis was. So, so anyway, it was just interesting that the whole scenario reminded me of Ava, and then another Gynax show, it looked exactly like the creature from that. So, so if it was intentional, then that's it's a little cute little homage, I guess.
Right.
But I like that. What was it? Is it Samari? Is that the name of the captain of the guards who got drunk with Nagate?
I
don't know. I don't know if it is or not. But I like that
scene.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. But I actually like the scene where she brought him out drinking, and she talked a little bit about it. She's been the captain since the first season, and she gives orders, when they're out, not like...
she had, a moment of, questioning her.
Yeah, where she was like, a lot of people die, and I feel really bad about that. And I thought that was a cool... I don't know, especially for a character that you just don't see very often in the anime, except when they're piloting. It was cool to see her really... And especially since her foil is that pervy dude who's always making passes at her.
I mean, I think they're dating, right?
I mean, kind of seems like
yeah,
that.
I mean, it's just that, he, flirts with her publicly, and she's like, shut the fuck up, not here.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, that kind of sounds like that. So it was kind of cool to see a different side of her.
Yeah,
I thought that. And then Izana loses her suit. Or it breaks. It blows up.
So, what?
Oh, right after the alcohol scene, she's or where Nagata gets
all drunk.
Oh,
right, because she is like, oh, your thing's not working because you're actually a girl now. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm still. Right,
yep.
That scene.
Yep, that scene. Yeah. So and then we had the coffee spilling or hitting the table thing that you talked about before, and then after that we catch up with the little shits who left Sidonia last season because they're pacifists, and oh no, the big alien creatures would stop attacking us if only we'd disarmed. They get fucked up. Spoiler.
Oh wait, that's what that was?
Yeah.
So those guys actually left the planet, or left and tried to
Yeah, so it seemed like they landed on a moon of the 6th planet or something, and from there they were launching missions to explore the 6th planet and see if they could colonize it. And the thing is they show this in the manga. They did not show it at all in the anime, but they actually show you the team that went to the planet. And actually one of the characters that goes down there is kind of important later on in the manga. But it's like an ocean world, and the ship crashes on, or not crashes on it. They landed intentionally, but it's like this big ocean planet. It's very pretty, but there's Ghana there,
Right.
They're just coming out of the water.
You don't have that.
So they skip that, but yeah, I was a little confused because their ship comes back and it was overrun by Ghana, and that's what attacked them when it was trying to shoot the big beam weapon at Sidonia earlier. So I got all confused.
Yeah, that sounds really confusing to me.
Yeah, that story, I'd like to say I think it's handled a little better in the manga. I think it's still kind of confusing in the manga. It's really confusing in the anime.
Right.
It's just really... It almost seems like it's almost better, I'd say, to watch all 24 episodes in a row. Because between the 2 seasons, I forgot a lot. Like you were saying, that one Honoka was in the hospital, and I had no idea where that had happened. I was like,
well, that was my experience with a lot of the characters. But I've read this guy's manga work before, and I've had that same what was it, break or blast or something like that. With
blame.
Yeah, the exclamation point. No fucking clue what was going on in that. So.
Yeah, and Biomega starts off strong, but then. And it's really cool, but it kind of meanders.
I mean, I think I would say that this is by far his best work.
Oh, absolutely. This is his masterpiece.
Yeah.
This is it, right? This is it. Yeah. And what's funny is you mentioned Blame, and Blame, a tiny, tiny bit of Blame got animated at the beginning of episode 8. And they're watching the TV, and on the TV is a little blip of Blame.
I think I remember being this looks like it might be something, but then it was one of those it's when you're hanging out with some people and they say an inside joke or they make an inside joke-ish sort of comment, and you're like I think that was an inside joke comment, but you have no idea what it's in reference to. That's how I felt when I saw that scene.
Yeah, and I thought it was funny when they were all watching the TV and Samugi's like, "Oh, what happens? Like, will we see what happens next?" And I think it's Midori Kawa that's like, "Well, if we give enough support, we'll see what happens." And I laughed out loud.
Wow.
I was like, that's basically the anime producers telling us, "Hey, you'll see more if you buy."
Right. They're pretty much plugging their own shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, it was funny.
It was funny.
I mean, there was no reason to have it there.
Breaking the fourth barrier wall or
absolutely breaking the fourth. I almost think I would have liked that better if it was like a before the opening credits, like little just fun scene, as opposed to something taking up time from an episode.
Right.
I think we could have done with something else from the story that they're skipping. Would be nice to see, but I don't know. I mean, it was fun, but like, why?
Yeah.
So then, I mean, basically, episode 8, apart from that blame scene, is just full of like really cute scenes. So we've got Samugi trying to rebuild the big hole that was left from the beam weapon accident, and she's moving around too fast, so she fucks up some stuff.
Right.
So we see her blush for the first time.
And he's like, and now he's smiling. She's like, God damn it, how does he know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was cute. And then we have
more real solid character development.
Oh yeah, episode 8, is just all about that. And we get the usual anime. His face goes, they're walking up the steps while Izana's in that dress, and he face plants on her butt. I thought it was funny that when Samugi sneaks up behind Midorikawa and she breaks the model she's working on.
Dude, wasn't there one scene when when Samugi just calls her out? It's like, you're kind of cunt, aren't you? Or,
oh yeah.
Well, you should probably cut that out. And it was just so, because it's but the three of them were having fun, and then she just sort of showed up, and she really has this authoritative that's not funny, guys, thing going on, and
yeah, that's when they were sitting at the table, and I love that Izana's reaction was she just did this groan. She was like, yeah, she is really bossy.
Really bossy.
Yeah, that was really cute, and I thought it was really funny how Izana's grandma tries to set up a date for Kunada to take Izana out on, and she threatens him by presenting it to him as a mission, and then saying that she installed a bomb at the base of his neck. That will explode, and there's this hilarious graphic on this giant computer screen of his head being blown off by this bomb.
It's remember that one time I helped you?
Yeah.
Well, I did that. I put a bomb in your neck.
I thought that was hilarious because he's just looking at it. He's just scared shitless.
Right. Yeah.
And then later when he invites Izana out, she's like, "Oh, this is great. What a nice time." And he's like, "This isn't a fucking vacation." And I just imagine him
we're on a mission, and it's everyone knows but him, and they're
yeah,
we're going on a date over here or whatever. It's it's not a fucking date. It's a serious mission.
He's like, "She's gonna kill me."
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done. I thought that was I thought that was actually funny. It wasn't just one of these the slapstick stuff is good, but it was nice to see humor that wasn't just him getting punched in the face, even if it was him getting mistreated, as he seems like he always is.
Right.
So, no, that was good. And then, interestingly, the date scene that they have, I thought that was interesting that so Midorikawa and Samugi spy on them while they're talking, and Samugi can hear what they're saying, and so we get cut off, and Izana gets really pissed at Nagate and is like, "You don't even care about me." And then the scene ends, and they're pressing their, they're trying to hear what's happening. And later Midorikawa is like, "Well, what did they say?" And God, the name.
Samugi? Right.
thank you. Just won't say it. She was like, oh, eavesdropping is bad. Well, in the manga, she does eventually say.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was funny. I kept waiting for the scene because it's in the manga. And I was like, oh, okay, when are they going to do that? And they never actually do this in the rest of the series. But in the manga, there's this short little scene where Tsumugi's like, oh, yeah, and he said this, or... it gets revealed anyway. I forget the exact circumstance. But all he says in reply is like, I totally care about you, or like, basically is just disagreeing with her. And that's all he said. Nothing else happens.
Huh.
And Midorikawa gets really, she gets really upset because she was like, that was it?
Right.
And it was funny because that was sort of the punchline, right? Like that was, you had this very highly emotional moment, and you think that maybe they hooked up or something like that, and maybe they did, but it's funny, the line gets all this attention, and they never actually animate the scene where you get told what he said.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Which I thought was really stupid, because that scene just ends, just stops.
Yeah, that's weird, but
after all that build-up.
I mean, whatever. That's just been an ongoing theme. So I'm not really that shocked,
Yeah, I can see that.
But I think it's pretty much now on to like the big last fight, right?
Yeah. And here we go into 10, 11, and 12, which is the finale. Because really the only other funny thing that happened was when Tsuruchi, the pervy dude, is like, hey Tsumugi, we can fly around together, and she totally.
Like wrecked him.
Yeah, wrecked him, which was funny. So we go into the three-parter, which kind of ends the series. So what do you think of that? Where they go to Planet 9 for the survey mission, and Izana gets grabbed because that girl chickens out.
Yeah, I mean, well, it really, like, that fight to me is just like Crimson Moth.
Yeah.
And the way that shit went down, was not expecting to see that character. Like, because he killed her.
Yeah.
And so there's also that like really humanoid Ghana or whatever that they ran into. That was interesting.
Mm-hmm. That was just like hanging out there.
But just that fight, man, like. It was just so crazy, and just like and when what's his face went completely God mode and just started like killed everything with every bullet, and then took out his sword and started like cutting down the masses.
That was great. Yeah, and I loved it when he saved Izana and the bearded dude. That was really cool.
Who was about to like kill himself. I was surprised that didn't happen. I thought that he was like he set up like a self-destruct thing on his.
Yeah. I didn't even know that they could do that.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting how like chill he was about that. He was like, oh yeah, no.
I'm letting those fuckers take me. I thought he was gonna close the cave by killing himself.
Yeah, I didn't think of. Yeah, that would have made sense. Yeah.
But that just didn't happen.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that he was just so not nervous about it. He was like, yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, in that world, would you? It's not a question of am I gonna make it? It's when am I not gonna make it? When. Yeah, and like I'm fighting this war and I'm most likely gonna die.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean that just see 10, 11, and 12. Thinking about it, really reminded me the most of the first block of episodes.
Yeah.
Really tense, just really crazy tense. That Ghana, the humanoid Ghana, was fucking creepy. I think there's a few more. That's what I mean. The Ghanas, they go through a couple more variations of shape in the manga that they just kind of casually skip over, and that was a big complaint I had about the first season.
Mm-hmm.
Was the Ghana were just so much less creepy in the anime than they were in the than in the manga. In the manga, they're super creepy, and I was really happy with this block of episodes because they really made the Ghana creepy.
They really did.
It's like this is how they feel in the manga all the time. And that humanoid one was just fucked up.
Yeah,
and of course the Hawk Moth.
Yeah, like
and fuck.
And then, like, God, what was it? Just the fight. I mean, like, I don't want to skip too far ahead, so if there's anything you want to talk about before this, but just, like, pretty much the end of it when she, drains all of Samugi's power, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
And then, recreates herself. Like, that was, like, super intense. Because...
Yeah, that was crazy. That was really crazy.
And then she, like, said, like, the same stuff to her that she said, it was like, hey, I'm sorry, like, I'm gonna try to make this quick and painless or whatever. And then just fucking the table got turned. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But then the guy came, and that scene when his old lover formed inside.
Oh, Hoshijiro when she forms inside the cockpit.
Oh my god. And sort of starts like choking him out, and like he's trying to like he's really close to being able to kill her, but like can't quite reach that shit. And then the fucking tongue, man. Did that really creep you out? Yeah, like because it's like kind of hot, This is what it reminded me of. It reminded me of the me thing.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I was like,
yeah,
oh
totally
my god. So yeah, me is this like music video is just really graphic. And then there's this one scene where it's like, oh wow, that's a really hot chick. It's like, oh wow, what's going on? It's like, oh my god, and she's like vomiting in his mouth and just like spitting or whatever. It's like it's fucking crazy. And that's what it was. It was like, wow, this is crazy. And then it's like he's gasping for air when she goes in to kiss him, and it's just tentacle. It's just like little squirmy tentacles going down into his mouth and into his throat. And like whenever I think about that, I like gag a little bit. It was so
and what the fuck was she doing to him? You know what I mean? I feel like that goes back to, whatever Samugi experienced when she was in the trap of Ghana. Like I feel like they just do really fucked up shit to the people that they catch.
Yeah.
And it's really crazy how she's killing him and making out with him, and it's just really, really weird with all the little worms. And what I thought was really cool is, did you notice the flowers that were blooming in the cockpit?
Yeah. Like, and so really, like, you feel like the affection that the character had, the original character, had for the character, is it Hoshijiro? Is that her name?
Hoshijiro, yeah.
Hoshijiro's affection for...
Nagata.
Nagata, thank you. And it was just like, it was just really, really intense.
Yeah, that was really messed up. And I felt really bad for Nagata, because, like, what a mindfuck.
Yeah, he handled it well. But it was like, there are other people that are even commenting, like, what the fuck? Like, this is, like, is he even gonna, like, he needs to kill her, but can he do that?
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely, that moment was the biggest what the fuck moment of the whole show.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the royal, because I was watching it and I was like, what? All right.
Did you read that in the manga?
Yeah, it's in the manga. I mean, it was really weird there too, but especially in the anime where, like I was saying, they skip a lot of the weirder stuff usually, and seeing this in motion was just way creepier.
Yeah,
it was like, because again, that weird line between you're kind of turned on, it's kind of hot,
and you also might vomit any minute.
Yeah, he's just like second. He's also dying. It's like he's also being killed. Yeah, and that was crazy. And it's interesting how when Izana shot the head off, she separated the Hoshijiro formed placenta with the rest of it. So now they've got 2 Hoshijiro placentas.
Right. Yeah, and that was that was really weird to me too, because I mean, I guess placenta, but like, is that I don't know, but like, she seemed like the human version, and it seemed like she was alive. And, just like, oh, hey, I just cut it. Everyone's like, what the fuck? I'm jealous now. Because this person that just tried to kill you is now, like, napping. And they're like, oh, well, she's no threat. Because this other thing was dead or whatever. But I don't think that was the case with the other placenta either. Because the other placenta like had tentacles and would like attack and shit, right?
Yeah, it was trying to go out. I mean, it was not clear if it was going to do the same thing that this one did to him in the cockpit, but it was a little gropey. Yeah, it was definitely a little gropey.
That really wasn't the first thing that came to my mind, but yeah.
And I think what's curious is it seems like this version of Hoshijiro, like you said, is definitely more real feeling than the previous one, which was just kind of vacant.
And maybe that's the technology of the Ghana or whatever is just like improving and they're able to like make better people.
Yeah, I mean basically I'm terrified of the like Windows 98 Hoshijiro that I guess will come next season,
Right.
It's like that seems really scary to me. Like, what is she gonna do then?
Right. Yeah.
So that was really creepy, and I thought that was just directed really well.
Really, really well.
That was done really well. And then we get the badass moment of the episode, which is when all the super ships start firing down at the hordes of Ghana, and it was kind of I was actually laughing because it was funny how this reconnaissance trip turned into like the full scale like war for Planet 9.
Right.
It was like, actually, let's just use this moment to just wipe out every single fucking Ghana on this planet, and that was really cool. I loved, and they played the first opening theme. That was nice. Just felt really, really epic.
And that plan came together from the green haired chick, right?
Yeah,
and,
that was all.
She presented it to the captain as like an assault, not like we're trying to rescue these people, because apparently that like wasn't allowed. But it was like like this is why it'll give us like a tactical advantage or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
But then like when she talked to like the ship people or whatever, like the people that were going out, they were all like, we're saving this fucking dude. And she's like, yeah, you're saving this fucking dude. So it was cool, that sort of way of working around, I guess, the orders,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like that. And I liked how earlier Kunato was the one who sent out Samugi basically he was like, oh shit, well if Izana dies, we're going to lose control of Samugi, so we've got to do something about that. So I really like this, that they ended on this note, because it really got everybody in the crew working together. And it seems like everybody knows how to pull the strings with the captain, with the super captain with the mask. It seems like everybody knows how to basically work around her rules.
Right.
And she's just like, cool, yeah, okay. And I'm sure the captain, I guess, knows.
Oh, yeah, she has to know what's going on.
Yeah, she has to know it. And I just thought that was really nice because, again, it's not like people are... I mean, everybody's still going towards their own goals, but it's not like they're fucking each other over, It's just... I really like that they're working together. But like, obviously, Kunato or Ochiai, wasn't doing it out of the goodness of his heart. He was like, oh yeah, we gotta save her,
Right.
It's just like, and, Midori Kawa was like, yeah, I want to save my friends. I'm also the fucking XO of the ship,
right.
So I can't just make calls that are for my friends. So yeah, I thought that was really well balanced, and I thought that was really cool. It was a nice battle to end the series on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it was a really good finale. Mm-hmm. There isn't really much more to like add to that, is it? Yeah,
and the problem that a lot of these shows have when the manga is still ongoing and the series ends is usually the ending gets all fucked up.
Right.
Something, it just stops, or it just feels really unsatisfying, and it just, it just feels like, I don't know. It was funny. Like, I really hope they do a third season, but at the same time, I thought that I was really satisfied with this ending. Really satisfied with it. I thought.
Have you heard anything? I tried to look at it. It hasn't seemed like it's...
I think there was an interview with the producers of the show, and they said they would love to do a third season, and they'd also love to do... There was before season 2 started airing in Japan, there was a compilation movie that went over the whole first season with some new scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And they said they'd love to do a second compilation movie, and they'd love to do a third season. So I think
it's like a movie in theaters, like a...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it came out in theaters.
Oh, wow.
Japan loves their compilation movies for some reason. They love those.
Like,
let's summarize.
Show me the story that I already know.
Yeah, and we'll add like 2 or 3 new scenes. I don't even know why, like, they're still doing that. I mean, it didn't make sense to me in the 90s, and it doesn't make sense to me now, but it's cool.
Like, don't just wiki. Come on.
Well, yeah, or like now, I mean, just stream it. Like, what the fuck? Like, or watch it on Blu-ray, or home video. I mean, even back then, you'd watch it on Laserdisc or VHS. I mean, I think it... I don't know. They did it with Attack on Titan, and really the only thing they were advertising was, oh, hey, we remastered all of the audio for 5.1 surround sound, and if you go see the last movie, there's a setup scene for season 2. That, to me, isn't enough to sit through four hours of a show I've already watched, I mean, just in theaters.
Yeah.
But whatever, that's just a general complaint about compilation movies. But, yeah, so I thought season 2 ended very strongly. I really enjoyed how Nagate went back to his home, and they showed you, his grandfather, or his clone, or whatever, or the original, showing him, the test pilot, Sears, and he traced his path that he traveled in the first episode of getting stuck in the rice.
And he met the people that chased him, like, it was very, the nostalgia was strong.
Yeah, and he met the dude who arrested him.
Yeah, had a pass, and it's like, oh, you're not supposed to be here. It's like, it's cool, I have a pass because I'm, like, your fucking hero.
Yeah. It's like, because I'm the best badass. And I thought it was really funny that the rice dudes gave him this giant bag of rice.
Yeah.
So that was funny.
Man. Just like, here you go, man.
Yeah, and it was cool that he left his medal. He basically gave his medal to
the father, or his grandfather, right?
Yeah. And again, I mean, you just had this glorious last battle. I mean, it was great, and you really felt... It was funny, even though they weren't taking the casualties they were taking at the end of the last season, you really felt the intensity, which was like, we've got to kill every one of these Ganas. And even Kobayashi is like, you hear her breathing.
And she's Kobayashi again?
Oh, the big captain with the mask.
Oh, yeah.
And even she, who's usually stone cold, she was 10th. I mean, it was just such a great...
It was so overwhelming, too.
Fucking great finale, man. Like, and they played the opening twice, and it hit all the right notes for me.
Yeah.
All the right notes. So, what did you feel overall?
I mean, overall, it's a similar sort of thing. I feel like that they just as I was saying before, I think it would have been really good to maybe keep more of the horror and more of the... important people dying stuff that would happen in the first season, but just the character development is just so good, and the fights that they do are really strong. That I think it's I think it's just like really, really, really solid.
And how'd you feel about the and this is a full 3D CG anime. The whole thing is all CG. So what did you think about that in comparison to other shows you've seen?
I mean, I just have a hard time telling characters apart. I really don't mind it that much. It just sort of seems like they're all like built off of a real similar template. And so it's just hard for me to follow some aspects of the story. The story is also just sort of, as we were talking about before, like kind of rushed. It seems, and combining some things, which can also make it a little hard to follow. But it's good. It's good. I like it. Like overall, like I think just the quality of animation. I like the colors and the more sort of like text CG animation generally better than like the old school drawn animation. I just think it's more appeasing to the eye.
Yeah, I think we're getting to an interesting crossroads with the CG animation, especially when it comes to mecha battles. We're getting to a point where, I really love the hand-drawn stuff, but the CG stuff is getting really good. The fights in this show were superb. Really, really superb. Especially those last 3 episodes were just phenomenal.
Right.
Just really great stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, it's getting to an interesting point where I wonder... I really don't want them to phase out the hand-drawn stuff, but I wonder if there's like a middle ground somewhere, a fusion we haven't really seen yet, sorts. Which because I think that's a big problem when all the characters are based off of the same model. That was my issue with the Berserk CG from the Berserk movies is all the army dudes were based off of the same model. So they just look, when your eye scans over them, you can kind of see it's all the same person. It's just this one face.
Right.
And I think that's a problem that, at least with the hand-drawn stuff, everyone is different, even if they're just drawn.
But I mean, I also think that as CG improves, you'll be seeing that less and less. Like this CG now is so much better than like when they first started doing some CG in anime.
Oh God, yeah.
It
was really bad, for a long time.
But, like another thing that I really like about CG, and I think probably the new animation do too. I think for the most part they're all using computers. It's just sort of like, I guess, the depth of how they're using it.
Yeah.
But like with Akira and stuff like that, in order to show quick, fast movement, you would draw lines, and the lines would be moving, not the character. And that's not really the case anymore. You can really just sort of get a much better feel of the character and their movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like the scenes of Samugi and Nagate flying when they were doing the when they were holding hands and flying around.
Right.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was done really well. And I don't know, it would not have looked, I just don't think it would have had the same feel in a bad way if it was hand-drawn.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Like you said, with the movements were just really well done.
An interesting thing about CG, this is something I was just reading in the forums. We'll get back to the anime soon, or whatever, but not the most recent Fate Stay night, but the one before it.
Fate Zero.
Fate Zero. Yes. This is what Ultimate Blade Works is what just finished, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so with Fate Zero, you remember the Berserk in that character?
Yeah.
How he had the CG? I read, like, he always had, like, this sort of, like, weird sort of distortion of CG around him and then pretty much everything that he did. And then I read something that, like, the way that character was described in a book, I don't even know if there's a book, but they said, like in the book, it was hard to, like almost formless, you couldn't really, like, see what it was. And then that was portrayed using the CG in a different way than the other stuff. So, like, I think it's an interesting sort of art style. And, I think it'll just keep getting better.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be fun to see where it goes. And it'll be really fun. I hope they do a third season of Sidonia and just do more to see. Because I feel like the CG in Sidonia has gotten a lot better just in the course of 24 episodes.
Yeah, for sure. Hands down. I do, though, wish that maybe they could go a little bit darker on the third season. Sort of bring it back a little bit. I do like the character development, but, like, if you could just go a little bit back to season 1, I'd like that too.
Yeah, and like I said, there's just so much that they skip from the manga that I guess they could just throw in a future season that would just up that creepiness level that I think you're missing.
Right, that's true. Talking to me makes me really want to check out the manga.
So. Yeah, I would definitely check out the manga. Just really.
Who's does it again?
So that's the author is Tsutomu Nihei, and it's published by Vertical here in the States.
Okay.
And they're a nice company. They're really great. They publish really cool stuff, and I think they've got 13 volumes out. We're more or less caught up with Japan. I think 14 comes out, I think, in a couple months, or might be out. I haven't really paid attention. Yeah. But yeah, so it's on Amazon. I think it's at all the Barnes and Nobles I've been to recently.
Nice.
So yeah, it's very readily available, which is nice. And also, what's cool too is Sidonia is on Kindle. It's on the Amazon Kindle store too.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's really cool. So it's one of Vertical's titles that's digital as well, which is not true for all of their titles. But yeah, and then the anime, of course, is on Netflix. And actually, because Netflix is co-producing it, I guess, I think there's a fair chance we'll see another season. More so than if it wasn't.
Well, I mean, it'd have to do well on Netflix, though, right? Like,
Yeah, I feel like it has. I mean, in the app that I watch it on, it's always in like the top, or so far in the past, since it was uploaded, it was up pretty high in the viewer, or like what in like the what's popular on Netflix section.
Yeah, and it seems to be rated really high as well. So, yeah.
But I have no idea, because I don't think Netflix releases their numbers. Because I think that was something with Daredevil, was people were trying to figure out how well it actually did. And
they're like,
I don't think,
suck it, we do what we want.
Yeah, I don't think they put out their numbers. Not like, TV, you always get the numbers of who's watching it, who's recording it,
Right.
So I have no idea how popular Sidonia is. I know it's selling well for Vertical, as far as I know, but I have no idea. So I really, really hope we get a third season, because there's just so much stuff that they skip that it would be nice to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the manga is still ongoing too, so yeah.
When the end of season 2, how many novels would you say? So say if someone were like, I just want to see new content taken out at the end of season 2, what novel would you recommend them? Even though there is a lot that they missed in the previous ones, like what would you recommend them?
So from just my quick little read through, review of the books, it looks like the last piece of material that the anime covers is from volume 11. So there's 3 whole books after that, 12, 13, and 14. That if they just, if they wanted a book with nothing from this season, 12, I guess, would be where they should start. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, this season, or the second block, or what we just watched, it roughly covered 6 books. It basically covered material from volumes 6 to 11. Yeah, 6 books. Yeah. Do I know math?
Never do math on stream, bro.
Yeah. I was like, I shouldn't have done that. It roughly covers materials from 6 books. But what's weird is the fight that they end on. So like the whole planet bombardment thing that they end on, that never happened in the manga. The fight on the planet happened, but it's just different. There's different circumstances. It's set up differently. And what's funny is, even though it covers material from 6 books, the battle that they ended the season on happens 3 books in to the 6 books that they covered.
Yeah,
and if that sounds like that,
in order to understand even.
Yeah, and the thing is if that sounds like it doesn't make any sense, it really doesn't. There's no. I mean, it really, because I was flipping back through it and I was like, oh, that's why I was so fucking confused with this season, was because they're all over the place.
Yeah.
All over the place. They're pulling shit from everywhere, and there were some scenes where I was like, oh, there's a character that's supposed to be here that's not here. And so that's where it gets confusing so if they just want all new material, then okay, start with 12, I guess. But there's so much shit that they skip. And there's so much stuff that they move around and change that it's worthwhile starting from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And just reading the whole thing.
Yeah.
So who would you recommend this to? I know we had this.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same people with the Knights of Sidonia one. It's a little more relationship-y. But I would actually almost wouldn't want to tell people that, because I think that it would, like, sneak up on you. And you'd like it, It's sort of like... if someone was like, it's like sort of like a Hammer, and they're like, fuck it, not watching that. But I really did enjoy the development of the characters and how it was all presented. So
yeah, it does present a lot of those very typical anime concepts in a way that you end up really enjoying.
Yeah, you just don't mind as much because you like the characters. I think that's really what it is.
Yeah, and so I'll patiently wait for my Izona body pillow and. I'll order a Samugi one for you.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. I love you and my tentacles.
So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Overall, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great to watch. And
but I can also see how some people may be a little bit disappointed or just not quite get what they're expecting coming from season 1.
Yeah, it's definitely not as hardcore as season 1, except for the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And that one fight.
Oh my god, that tongue.
I'm going to dream about that tonight.
Yeah.
In not a good way. So that brings us to the end of Knights of Sidonia.
Yeah, long episode, but we did sort of go over the entire season. Thank you.
Which we will not do for whatever show we cover next.
Right. Yeah. This was a special occasion, and we were both feeling particularly binge-worthy.
Yep. So we'll be going back to our regular. If we do Dragon Ball, it'll be 2 episodes. If we do Arslan, it'll just be 5.
Yeah. Yep.
So just let us know if there's future shows you'd like us to check out, and otherwise we'll catch you back here next week.
Yeah. Or sooner. We're still trying to catch up
sooner.
A little bit.
Yeah. We might surprise you sooner.
Yeah. So. Who knows? We'll get a schedule eventually. We had one. It got distracted.
Yep.
And that's all.
All right.
Rock on.
Well, thanks for listening to everybody.
Yep, thank you all. Take care, and good night or good morning or whatever.
Bye.
Bye.